Great way to start out. Coughing. Awesome. Hi,
Welcome.
guys. We are back.
Happy.
In front.
Three-dimensional, you could say. See, look. The third dimension.
Yeah, and we're going to subject you to the fourth dimension for the next 2 hours.
And in the future, you'll still be in our fourth dimension. Ha-ha! 2027? Ha-ha! You're rewatching us. Ha-ha! We made it!
Yes.
And goddamn, our lawsuit against Trucker Stu didn't work. Try to sue every goddamn year.
All right. Well, welcome back, guys. And today's all about guilty pleasures, Star Trek edition. There's a lot of ships out there that are objectively ugly, or stupid, or lame, but that people love and people like for various reasons. And that's what a guilty pleasure is. Something you don't really want to admit that you like, but, you know, you do. Just say it. I mean, guilty pleasures are kind of fun. There's a reason they're called guilty pleasures, right?
I mean, the obvious example that what's the movie that you class as a guilty pleasure that's a sci-fi that is not well reviewed, and we understand that, but both quite enjoy it. And that would give you hopefully a sense of what a guilty pleasure could be. What is that film, Stuart?
I don't even know what you said, so...
What's a guilty pleasure film that we both have, that you have especially always cite to? That's an example of how you could quantify guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure film that we both have.
It's the one that we always reference, Stuart. The one we always reference. Don't get lost on me now.
I am lost on you. Well, I'm just lost.
Well, then don't go to space, because you'll have problems.
Lost in Space? Oh, yes. This is a guilty pleasure movie. Yes. It's fun action. It's not really good representation of the original franchise. It's got some campy acting. Second half is kind of garbage. Well, it's the last third is not that great. But yeah, Lost in Space is a perfect example of a guilty pleasure movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a film that, so for me, guilty pleasure refers to things where it's not well liked or in the mainstream is liked, but even though you know that, you can still really enjoy it.
Yes.
Because either the things that are disliked you don't necessarily care about, or you find other things that are overwhelmingly, guilty pleasure. It's like in a bad movie, right? The Room is a guilty pleasure in a sense. It's just a bad good or good bad movie or bad good movie. No, it's bad. It's a good bad movie, but it can be a guilty pleasure because if you imagine like you get your in-laws in, you're watching The Room, and they've never heard of it. They'd be like, "What are you like?" It would seem embarrassing to watch it just by itself unless you get the context. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Very much your definition of guilty pleasure. So put in some of your guilty pleasures across all the Trek, including games. I don't want to leave out any games. There's a lot of interesting stuff in like Armadas. Other ship-related games.
Yes. No, but there are a lot of interesting ships for sure that you're seen once, maybe just seen as a schematic, maybe just not really shown on screen, but are still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them are questionably just not great.
And I definitely would have like a little no judgment. It's a safe space of Trek. When you guys submit yours, we'll just vote. It's like good, bad. How do we feel? We positive? Because that's the thing. We did do one of these once in some other format, like a long time ago, and it was amazing how many of the ones that came up that people said, "Oh, this is my guilty pleasure," that a lot of people in the chat just liked. And it kind of like changed perspective a little bit on some because it's very internalized, right? How you think the world is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bit complicated in a good way.
Yeah.
I'll do the first poll, then start sharing. Put in some suggestions, guys. I want to know what you guys consider as a poll.
Yeah, and we have some of our own, I'm sure. So it'll be interesting to see what we can talk about today and justify or not justify their existence. Yes, so while he's doing all those things, I'm going to tell you to hit like, share the video around, make sure you're subscribed, click the notification bell icon to all. Do the things. And check out the links down below to the Teespring and the TeePublic store. Because you know you want to.
Right, read the poll first, and I will.
Bull, do you have a guilty pleasure ship when you know people don't close the thing on me, don't like as much, but you love? Yes, no, or I don't understand the concept.
Right? Yeah. Let us know. Yeah. All right, I'll see you in a second.
Yes. And if you want to join the channel, there's a join option down there on YouTube. You can join us on a monthly basis here. It really supports us and helps us out, and we really appreciate all the support from you guys. Or you can head on over to Patreon/Trekyards as another way to do that. Yeah. There you go. All right, and yeah, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear your guilty pleasure ships. And once we talked about a few of them, maybe some of ours, you'll get the idea and you'll throw in some. I mean, the thumbnail that we have on the screen right now is a perfect example. The Jaeger class, I mean, some people might like it. I mean, it's not really one of my guilty pleasure ships. It's just it's an interesting design that I think could have been a lot better if they had just actually done some changes to it, and that's fine. But there's a reason we don't like it, you know, and we'll get into that if you guys choose to pick that one. But yes, just super chat in with your ships that you think we should talk about or discuss. There are, like I said, we each have a few that we can throw in ourselves to kind of get the ball rolling and fill in the time if there's no other super chats, and that's fine. But yeah, we want to hear your thoughts on it, so just make sure you comment in the regular chat, or like I said, if you want to super chat in your thoughts on one of the ships we're talking about, you can do that as well. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. So if you can, please do the super chat thing. So yes.
And I'm back.
You're back.
It be shared.
Should we just start with one of mine?
Yeah, 100%. All right.
All right, let's get into it. Yeah. So right off the hop, I'm going to go with the Chariot class. The Chariot class is objectively, it's an interesting design. Objectively, does it make any sense? I mean, not really. It depends on what its purpose is or what the logic behind it is. Some people might find it kind of hideous, but I really like the design. I think it's a really cool, interesting new take. They've gone so far as to even change the top of the saucer to add like this bulbous bridge section at the front, which seems a little odd. Why not just have a regular bridge section on a regular saucer? But it adds to the uniqueness of it. So yeah, the Chariot class is absolutely one of my favorites that popped into my head when we started talking about this. And I'm not sure where it originated or what it's really been used in, but it is such a cool design, and there's so many awesome fan renders of it online that I think it's a good standout one for various reasons. So yeah, Chariot class.
All right, so vote now. Should I do a new poll for each ship, or just leave it as?
Ooh.
I know, because 20 votes on the first one gives us a good indication.
Sure, we could maybe do that.
Okay, read out the results, Stuart, in this 3-minute poll.
So, do you have a guilty pleasure ship? Yes, no, I don't understand. Yes wins with 67%, no 19%, and 5% don't understand.
All right. Interesting. Starting with our new Chariot class, yes?
Yes, the Chariot class. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different views of this thing online if you look it up. It has kind of got its own following, if you will. And like I said, there's a lot of really good renders of it. And there's a lot of reasons that it could look or could have a purpose for the way it's designed, because it doesn't really fit the standard mold of how you would necessarily design a ship. But you can come up with reasons that it was designed as such. So,
yeah, this feels like it's a fan design from gotta be 2004, like in those early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing from what I can vaguely recall, like Sketch, then someone took that design, actually built it, and then anyone else can take the original Sketch and build it how they want. So it's one of those ones that models that became available, but then kind of lost as well as websites and forums went away. Right.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, I have a version of this model, but it's not complete.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's just a version that someone made, but it hasn't got like the top of the saucer textured and such, so it's not usable. But at least I have something, right? It's not from scratch.
Oh, I'd love to see this in one of your fan films.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is because someone obviously had just an idea, right? It's a ship that is so different, but does speak to that post Nemesis before 09 Trek of like, what would more advanced look like? Let's just try some stuff, and this one happened to take off from the Phantom, and obviously, because it's just so weird and different while keeping everything else the same. But it's one of those few kind of bold takes. I mean, nothing quite beats In That Void, the Mystic Spinning Enterprise, of course. That's the best in between years ship ever designed. But this one's, no, near.
Mm-hmm. Is what?
The Mystic Spinning Enterprise. That's the only one that really beats us in terms of originality and amazingness in between years. That one's just perfect, as you know.
It is. It's the most glorious of starship designs.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I feel this is very much like the J. You have visceral reaction as a Trek fan to, can you accept different? If yes equals like, if no equals dislike and just revulsion. And then you have different levels of that. If you dislike more, you even had Enterprise D back in the day because it was just misproportioned to you. And you had the Defiant because it was misproportioned to you.
Yeah.
It's like a tree. Like, I like this just fine. I think it feels like it's something missing because it's just disproportioned. But then it's just a weird, bloody, interesting design, right? It's like the not Norway, but the saber. That's also weird, right? It's not exactly a finished. It's like it's weird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, we did do an episode on this ship like 6 years ago. Yes.
We've done a lot of. I don't even remember what we said.
Done a lot of ships in 10 years.
Yep, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Done a lot of ships. Now, when you think of the reactions people have had to this, do you think people have been positive, negative? Like, is it good because you know people have disliked it, or are you saying it because you think people have, but you assume they have?
Well, just from things I've seen online over the years, it's very polarizing. Some people hate it and think it looks silly, just for the sake of being silly.
Silly, yeah.
Other people really like the kind of dynamic shapes going on, and I'm with them. My buddy Greg McFarland is a huge fan of this ship. So anytime I come across a picture of it or whatever, I'll send it to him because it's one of his favorite ships, if not his absolute favorite ship. But yeah, I think it's very polarizing, and I find a lot of the guilty pleasure ships are just that. Some people love them, some people absolutely despise them. Kind of like the Jaeger class. Some people love the design. And others.
Do they?
I assume so. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know if I've met any, but hey, if I'm not even joking. I just don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Tuning says, as I commented at the time, I hate it. It's revolting. I would like another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I think it's perfectly. I mean, it's one of the more interesting designs. I think, you can't get more forward thinking if this was like, if this is Enterprise D, you'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
But as a post Enterprise D, next interesting step. It's not like a flagship class sort of ship, but it's imagine. I mean, I have obviously no clue, but you can imagine it going into gas giants or something where the thing can dip in and take sense, like something really weird and interesting. Like that. That's how my brain sees it, right?
Yeah, same here. Like the lower fin is for skimming nebulas or gas giants, like you said, kind of sailing through the and taking readings. Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
but I can't really picture this thing in motion and doing anything dynamic, like in a battle, like because it kind of looks like a sunfish as well, which are like big fish that have the vertical bodies, right? So yeah, I mean, I can't see it really being elegant, but at the same time, I've said that about other ships, and then you see them in motion, and it's like, damn, that actually looks really good.
Yeah, it depends where the center of gravity is for the axis. If it in my head it shifts on the saucer.
Yeah.
Which does look silly. If it shifts the middle, then it's kind of got a turn. It kind of depends where you place that point. Yeah, I mean, it looks a bit odd, but of course it is, right? Yeah, I like this one. It's not a favourite, but I don't, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the poll is, as we bring the second one, vote now, 20 votes. This is a chariot class guilty pleasure ship or a good or bad one. You've got good, bad, and totally guilty pleasure.
Bad wins with 39%.
Really close though. And guilty pleasure is actually saying it's a bad ship they like. So more people like it.
Maybe it's a good ship they like.
Well, that's 35%, right? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, good means you just like it. There's no guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure is you like it, and it's a guilty pleasure. And the bad is just bad. So more people like it by a substantial margin. That's why I want to go for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
All right, Chariot wins the first round of what do people think?
Perfect. Well, before we get into the super chats, I want to see one of your guilty pleasures.
Oh, okay.
So throw one up.
Oh, yeah, that's a curveball.
Ha!
No, it's fine. Oh gosh, I got a folder of my renders. I mean, I'm gonna go with something dumb. The Krenim scout ship from that one shot of that one shot of Voyager, where the view screen in the one shot where the wave comes in and turns into battleship. I don't think people like this ship in general, the design, but I've always thought she's a really snazzy little cool design. I like the fin back. I like the glowing balls. I wish she was in it more. I think she's a really cool little design that takes a simple baseline and kind of does some nice things to it. So get a little pleasure of. Yeah.
Do you want to do the poll for this one while I'm
yes.
talking about it?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, this is one of those ships of the week that I think is very just kind of exactly that, a ship of the week. Not much thought put into it, not much design, not much anything special that pops. And it doesn't feel kit bashed or is really thrown together, but at the same time it kind of does. There's nothing that stands out to me as being special for this one, and people would be forgiven for not knowing that this exists, because when you threw this up, I was like, okay, I remember seeing it maybe once or twice during our discussions, but really it's not one that I would ever think of, and I would definitely not personally call this one that I would pick as any kind of enjoyable shapes for me personally. But yeah.
Well, that's the point, right? It's a guilty pleasure. It's something that I like you said, but I have a slight benefit of knowing these ships a bit more accessibly than other people do.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I mean, Year of Hell's one of my favourite Trek in general, and so these things stand out more. I've always been interested in this one. Just, the concept of multiple timelines, in a sense, right? This is how they were at the start of the story, this pathetic little thing. It's a great effect when it goes through, quite advanced at the time. Becomes a ship that can do, phase through torpedoes is great. And I just like the sunflower petal engine back look, which is like, what are they? They're not impulse engines, maybe they are. Don't know. And you can see the kind of the Babylon 5 plate texturing, because they can't do much in terms of geometry, and boy, they can't. So we'll shove that on it, and it's a bit obvious. I mean, again, not meant to be seen in HD. This is in HD. This is one you could really easily, like, fresh build and make clean, beautiful lines, polygon, like really, really smooth it up, like crisp. I mean, more subtle. And if you actually made everything more subtle into plating, and added a few more greeblies, it could really sing. The exact same design, but like refine it down to being something modern, and it would look a lot nicer. And look, I just think it's the parts are simple, but it's more than the sum of its parts for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fair. It's just, this is one that you couldn't convince me to like it, I don't think.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Point made, right?
Yeah.
And Nox is bad, because you can't say it's bad, right? It just doesn't do anything.
Isn't there anything special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yes.
I'm glad he got you on the first one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, shit. You like that one? What's wrong with you?
Let's get into the super chats now.
Yes.
Well, actually, before we do that, we should close out this poll with 22 votes. Is the Krenim scout ship a guilty pleasure ship? Uh, 45% say good. Wow.
Oh,
Bad,
okay.
36%,
Okay.
and 18% say guilty pleasure. So it actually
Oh,
scored way better than the chariot class.
yeah. Okay, so it's less controversial, but also okay. Oh, okay. See, we're gonna learn some stuff. I like it.
That's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
It's just such a non-design for me. So
I mean, so are some shuttles, right? It's a little box.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
Olivia, $5. My guilty pleasure is, of course, the McGee class. Just look at those nacelles. I mean,
Poll incoming.
yeah, this is one of those hideous designs, in my opinion. More power to you if you like it, Olivia. That's great, but there's nothing about the ship that's special in any way to me. It feels like a very lazy Discovery type design, and it's nothing dynamic about it. This is the best view of it because every other view is just so simplistic, especially like the orthos, like the profile and the front view. There's just nothing going on with it, and it doesn't feel like a Federation design. It doesn't feel like it feels very pre-NX era kind of design without the dynamic kind of hull shapes, and you need a structural integrity field or anything. This is very simple, basic. It goes out in space and works. So it's just kind of but hey.
But hey, what do you know, right?
Well, exactly. I don't know much.
Although I'm
I admit that.
little bit surprised some of his slightly sweeping generalizations. Doesn't look Federation-y. I mean, it's a source on cells, so it does look Federation-y because it's definitionally the checklist exists.
Well, the
checklist
fine.
is there, so it does look Federation-y, and it's unique because it has engines in the saucer. Is it a good choice? Probably not, but it is unique and it is Federation-y. Everything else around that you're absolutely right on, but it's like it is. You gotta give it the credit, right? It's doing something bold and probably dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Just they spent more than 5 minutes. Well, sorry, John. Let's be honest. A day sketching it. We'll be fair.
The reason I said it doesn't feel Federation or Starfleet is just because of where the nacelles are placed. That usually, like in this typical Starfleet design, the nacelles are away from the main hull or the secondary hull, and that was described long ago as it's like surfing a wave in space, and there's some dangerous radiation that could be caused by it, so that's why they're away from the ship and all that. So that's what I meant by that. I get the saucer and the nacelle vibe, sure, but just it's the configuration of them that doesn't feel put together. Like I said, it feels way more primitive than the NX-01. It just feels like something that was more simple to build, and you could build you could build the Death Star, like a Daedalus class without the nacelles. Just have a sphere going through space. Would be another good early shape that would be strong. You wouldn't have to worry about structural integrity fields necessarily. You know what I mean? Like it's a simple, safe design. And I guess if you that's what you're going for, then it works. So, but yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, I threw back at you to hear your thought process, and that was really well said. So, yeah. I mean, if
that wasn't well said. I'm leaving that.
Thanks, man. Canadians, they're not as polite as you think.
No, we're not.
Yeah, I see the logic of the logic of we need to crank out ships that can be at warp cool one a week. Yeah. But Starfleet, this ship for me symbolizes a lack of smart Starfleet, which Starfleet was known for. This pushes against that for just how can we throw together elements. But as we know, John was being forced to throw together elements and submit 20, 30, 40, 50. So of course, ideas are going to start getting through that are bad. And as we know, when he designed for Enterprise, he'd submit 4, 3 he didn't like, 1 he liked, at least roughly. And often it was when he didn't like they got through, so he'd start submitting really bad, like some bad ones, so they get good. There's some logic you can put in if you have enough time to think. This is one you just wouldn't accept unless you had some clever things. I mean, for example, maybe if the two sides of the saucer came out, like you could do things with it, right? Like make it the design logic really elaborate to justify the really silliness. then it's silly because of function. I really want to see you guys vote on this, because no judging. We all like what we like, right? And Stuart hates Dauntless. I like Dauntless. There's going to be stuff coming up, right? There's going to be stuff coming up. Yeah, for me, it's not a guilty pleasure, but I could see it looking good in certain shots from a distance, as part of a fleet, as a different profile, like a different shape. That's as far as I'll go with it.
I could see it looking good from a distance as well. So far away that I can't see it. Look, there's a. Is that a ship? No, is that a star?
Bird? Is it a fly? Is it McGee? I don't care. It's Red Angel. What? What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Let's just jump into the results, because there's 28 votes on the poll. Bad wins with 48%.
It's gonna be interesting.
I have faith in our viewership. 31% say it's good, and Olivia, 21% say it's guilty pleasure.
Which, in fairness, Olivia, means you win at 52%. Prefer it over dislike it, so you do win that.
Sure.
You do win that. Well done. And Andrew
says,
not
a contest.
Well, no, it's interesting, right? It's a purely whatever. But Andrew says, "Oh damn, alive! Playing it, I see one. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Andrew.
Welcome. We're always the same time, so if you can make this time of the day, we'll be live 2 to 3 times a week. Hi there. And when Stranger Worlds comes back, probably more. Something to talk about, because, boy, hopefully. The drought is real, eh?
Yeah.
That's okay. All right, where are we going next? As I'm
Captain Forsyth says he loves the McGee class. Well, there you go.
Great.
Next up, we got Schmobuddy, $5. USS Republic, Kirk's training ship. Not a Connie. Trapezoidal secondary hull, dual straight bar pylons. Half the nacelles look industrial.
And that is what Google showed me, so I assume that's right, given the...
Yeah. That feels very much like it came out of the space flight chronology. It just feels like one of those designs for sure, which you guys can include those as well. So this is a guilty pleasure ship, huh? Yeah, the industrial looking nacelles are interesting. It is a training ship, so I kind of like the concept of that. The Cerritos almost has that feel too. Like the nacelles are missing some of the coverings, just because it's easier to access the inner workings. That's what this kind of feels like. We're out training a new crew, and we have a simulation of a damaged ship. Get out there in spacesuits and fix shit. Fix simulated damage on the nacelles. Sure. I don't know if this is I've seen this picture before. I don't know if I've seen any other views of it, but again, this has that Starfleet mentality and the Starfleet design aesthetic. So it maintains that, which the McGee doesn't. It's got the nacelles away from the hull. It's got a saucer and a secondary hull design. That's what I mean by Starfleet design. This feels very that. And yeah, it does feel like an older relic or a training ship specifically. So yeah, I don't think I would consider it for myself personally a guilty pleasure, but it is an interesting design. So
I mean, these are those very interesting between era ships where they sort of had a rule book, but also nothing beyond that very thin rule book of Connie, probably refit. Okay then, and TMP.
The comic book ships are interesting. Some of them.
Yeah, I mean they just drew variations, and they do not need to have logic is the wrong word, but like there are no windows, there's no impulse engines, like stuff that is the list for 1 or 2 frames of comics. I don't even need to think about it, just shapes and how to make it visually appealing, and it certainly is striking. All credit to striking. What it says to me, in as much as it wasn't thought out, was we had a saucer from ship A. We had engines from an older ship B, and we had this giant hangar in the parking lot. And we said, you know what? Let's build a neck and make a ship out of it. Will it work? Let's give it like that's how the shapes don't connect to me in my head, but that itself makes it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you should design more details into it. Obviously, do a bit more thought and logic, and who the hell knows how to look in the front view. Like there isn't. So the way the comic strip is, you would think there'd be a nice blue clean line, the star pattern at the bottom of the saucer, but there's like black bits below the saucer. Now,
Yeah.
is that implying, if you're just on the front view, is there some weird stuff going there? Because you would see through it if that was a clean saucer. So the front view, whatever they thought, there might be some really weird stuff at the front. So I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Dan, it can be non-canon or canon, and it can
Yep.
also be fan designs. Anything,
Yep.
anything
Trek.
Star Trek. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obscure kind of works in this concept. You know, one that, you know, people might not like it fully, but you like it, and it's, you understand, might not be best, but you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yeah. I wish there was more views of this, and there probably is. Somebody's probably done like orthos of this thing or did a 3D render of it. I'm sure. Fans are kind of crazy like that. So
would this for you fall in the same category as that first warp ship from TAS?
Oh, the Bonaventure.
There you go. Like misproportioned, and it kind of feels that way, but it could be charming.
Yeah, this is a safe bet, is what this is. This is taking the original Enterprise design and modifying it and changing it, just like the Bonaventure did, to stretch and make things look different.
Yeah.
And it's just, like I said, it's a safe bet as far as something that'll work for Starfleet. So, yeah, hats off to the McGee, I guess, for being different enough to still say Starfleet, but not just doing the same thing over again. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. Oh my God, the poll, 24 votes. We had a three-way tie. It was 33% for everything. But it's just shifted now. So bad is now 36%, guilty pleasure 32%, and good 32%. Now, is part of the, I gotta ask, is part of the guilty pleasureness of it the fact that it was Kirk's, like a shit that Kirk served on?
Yeah, let us know why you say it's a guilty pleasure. That's a really interesting thing. They've put it in. Let us know.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
A lot of times for me, they're just guilty pleasures because visually I find something really appealing about the design. Not necessarily its context in a story or whatever, but sometimes that does come into play. So yeah, let us know. Interesting. Yeah, it was a three-way tie for a second there. 33% for everything, which does not equal 100%, but that's fine.
It happens.
Yes. And 49 of you here, 50 of you here now. 31 likes. Hit that like button, guys. Let's get the likes up to 50 if we can. And yeah, let us know your guilty pleasures. We want to talk about them.
See, I would call this for me just obscure rather than guilty pleasure for me. Like you with the Krenim, I'm like, I have no strong feelings about it because it's so obscure and so good to see of it.
Yeah. That's the thing with some of these comic ships, you get one view. And usually a poorly drawn one at that, especially this age of the comics. Because there was the time there in the 80s where the comics weren't that greatly detailed as far as the drawings go. Mm-hmm. The Enterprise always looked kind of off because it was just kind of quickly sketched. It did get better, but yeah.
All right.
Charles June throws in $5 and says, "Hello, Cap and Commander. I hope all is well." Hello.
Hello.
And yes,
thank you.
everything's good.
Yeah, got back from Easter vacation. Shocking. Actually, out of the office and doing real life stuff. Whoa, that's nice.
Yay! Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, so let's end this poll. 29 votes.
Yeah.
Bad and guilty pleasure are tied at 34%, and good design is at 31%.
But 65% like it in some way. So there you go. Interesting.
Yes. All right. Classic for real, $5. Krenim Year of Hell ship, i.e. Scout ship's bigger brother. Also, why does the Ambassador get so much hate anyway? The Ambassador gets hate because it's not Andrew Probert's version of the Ambassador. That's why it gets hate.
And classic, do you mean the battleship or the time ship? Because they're both bigger brothers. And your comment could lead to either. So which do you mean, the battleship or the time ship? Let us know. You are right there, so you can let us know in seconds. I've one lined up anyway.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say too that a lot of guilty pleasure ships could be from FASA. There's some fucking wonky designs there.
Yeah.
So dig into your FASA knowledge, guys. And yeah, like I said, the spaceflight chronology, There's some interesting designs in there as well as like pre-TOS designs, which we didn't have much to draw on at the time.
Nothing.
So
yeah.
So there's some interesting designs out there for sure. So
okay, so this is a classic. So put in why classic is for you, because it's your guilty pleasure, right?
And classic said the battleship, not Anorax's time ship.
Yes. Where's the name of it?
And hit like 37 likes. Let's get those likes up to 50, guys. We can do it, no problem.
Yeah, because let us know why it's your guilty pleasure.
Yes.
I assume this one has slightly more emotive to you, because they attack Voyager like a mofo.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than the one you showed. No offense. But you can see it's part of the same fleet. Again, it doesn't really ever pop up in my thought process ever.
You don't lie awake at night thinking.
No, because that version of me's been erased.
What if
the timeline?
Okay, end of statement. I'm not even going to follow up. That's too good. I'm not gonna... You got me there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one. It's better than the last one, the last Krenim one we looked at. It's got more dynamic stuff going on, more interesting shapes, especially from like the top, and I think the shape just kind of works. But yeah, it's not a guilty pleasure of mine for sure. So,
and classic, why is it guilty for you? Because for me, I think it's just a good design. I don't think it's guilty pleasure, which means I probably pull that, shouldn't I? God damn, I'm going to prep the next one.
Curry 51. Oh, look, a flying boiler. Sure. But yeah, it's just... Not a big fan of the color scheme either.
It's certainly distinct.
Kind of feels rusty and old, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this one, they built so much for Year of Hell, right? It's crazy. There's like 3 new alien races in the final part for the final battle. The two Krenim ships, the one big ship, lots of space work, a nebula, escape pods. There's so much CG that was created for those 2 episodes that you look at this, and even though it was on the hero pieces, you can see the very basic geometry.
Yeah.
It's very basic. I think Rick's sketches are nicer. Because of course, right? He had more, no limitations. Yeah, I mean, this is a less simple character than the scout ship, because I like the back fins a lot. This is a lot more safe. I understand the 2 big pods with too many fight. I don't know, right? I understand the potential of the design. But yeah, it's just a nicely general warshipy ship that does not look aerodynamic. It's always kind of fun. Got a bit of window detail and some really basic plate detailing and a giant forward torpedo launcher, which as we know is the main cannon. Do we ever see it from the back? I can't visualize the back of this thing, even though I could turn it, but I don't know. Does it have big engines? I don't know.
It feels like a Star Wars design. Like from the back, it would feel like, the Falcon or the Ebon Hawk or something. It just feels like it would have some kind of
big engine
detail back there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a more Star Warsy kind of, but maybe just because more greebly looking things.
Maybe, yeah.
And Classic says he liked it's decent, but he didn't want. He nominated it mostly because he didn't want the Krenim time ship. Well, Scout would feel lonely. Oh, 2 Krenim. But I think the other one's more unique. Like, the other one has more unique little flares. This has more basic flares that are more basic. That it's more tactical looking ship, but it's just sort of less dynamic. Little, I don't know.
Yeah, well, the other one has like the flower petal look to it.
Yeah,
which
a big thing.
I'm not a fan of, because otherwise it's just kind of like a tube with flower things at the back. This is more up my alley as far as shape wise goes, because there's more going on, and I don't really like just the flat the pedal design.
I just guess more's going on, but none's really that interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
They could have had both. Like, you can still see the middle bit is just a more complicated version of the scout ship. If it had petals on the back or the sides to kind of follow through.
Yeah.
But it's not meant to be an evolution. It's meant to be a alternate timescape, right? It's a sidestep. Yeah, I'm interested to see what you guys think. I don't think things are going well. And yeah, Adrian says, as a Babylon 5 look, it does. This definitely feels like the team worked at Babylon 5 and then Voyager. They definitely said we used to build 400 polygon ships for a living. We have to do 10 of those this week.
It also feels like part of the ragtag fleet from Battlestar Galactica, like the
original
70s one. Yeah, it feels like one of that fleet for sure. So.
Yeah. All right, what's the poll?
The poll with 20 votes, is this ship good or bad or guilty pleasure? Well, bad wins with 45%, good 30%, and guilty pleasure 25%.
That's the closest guilty pleasure to good ratio, because the bad really took a strong play there. That's okay.
And maybe 44
maybe
likes,
I'll do an up detail in a Trek short and how it wrecks shop and just really make someone's day bad.
Yes. 44 likes, guys. Let's get those likes up to 50. Another 6 likes. If you haven't hit like yet, please do.
Yes. All right. The next one I think will be quite interesting to talk about.
Yes. Schmo Buddy, $5. Niagara class. Always liked it. Definitely a bit awkward and gangly, but I don't know. It just fits in between the Ambassador and Galaxy so well, in my opinion.
And this was hard to find a shot of because a nice beauty hides all the dimensionality of it. So I really hard to find a render that kind of showed its weirdness. So I went with this. Not the best render, but shows all the elements. So
yeah, this one makes it feel like it has 4 nacelles. It's definitely got 3. It's one of the 3 nacelle ships, which is actually canon. But yeah, this is one of the Wolf 359 fleet. Definitely feels thrown together. And it doesn't have a cohesiveness that I think Starfleet would have. It feels very thrown together kitbashy, unfortunately. And design language wise, I'm not a huge fan of it. I do like 3 nacelled ships, I really do, but something about the way this is laid out that just doesn't appeal to me at all. But yeah, it's got elements from the Ambassador class era. It definitely feels like an iterative step between the 2 generations of fleets. But I've seen some ugly pictures of this thing, like the model and whatnot. So it's not the best design. That 3rd nacelle on the bottom is just take that off and have the 2 nacelles placed exactly the same. It would be different enough that I think it'd be better. But hey, yeah, not a big fan of a lot of the Wolf 359 fleet, honestly. But yes, we need a poll. Oh, you're working on it. And we're 4 likes away from 50, guys. Hit that like button. And thank you for joining us. Make sure you're subscribed, do all the things, and yeah, let us know your thoughts on this design as well as your own guilty pleasure.
It includes game ships, because there might be something in like Armada 2 which tickles your guilty pleasure fancy, because there is some pretty...
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, my one from Armada is not a guilty pleasure, but it's the premonition. It's just a good design.
And that's the thing, you can't just like it, right? That's the point. That can't just be a good design. It has to be one that is looked down upon in some way, and therefore you like it despite.
Yes.
Slightly more niche register.
It's got to be objectively ugly to the point where you're kind of embarrassed to say you like it. Wow. That's why it's a guilty pleasure.
So Krenim's character was objectively ugly? Just no people don't like it as much, you know?
Because most people don't know it exists.
Wow. So watch Void War, shouldn't they then? Niagara.
Wow. No.
Bitch. Right, Niagara, yeah. So I've used this ship in 2 shots of Trek shorts, which is nice. I liked using it. I appreciated the... No detail on it is like any other ship, and yet every detail is so close that it's the same era-ish, which I really like, right? And of course, if you're trying to just throw together pieces that are a bit different, then it won't necessarily combine as well as the originals, because again, that's okay, cool, that kind of works, right? These things shouldn't. So yeah, really odd to have the 2 on the 1, but it would look worse, the 1 on top, based on the parameters of the ship. You could integrate it better and look nicer. Would look better as a 2. Hey, Jay, put in 5 has Discovery, right? You can do that. Right? But I appreciate Niagara isn't just a galaxy saucer, an ambassador saucer. It is actually something different, really simple for them to make and then destroy. So it is different enough that it isn't a kit bash. The nacelles, okay, those are more the same, just I think extended slightly. And that's okay because they're more easily swappable parts. It's just the ugliness of the ratio of pylon, the way they're framed. But obviously, if they're trying to create a set of shapes that look different to the Enterprise or Enterprise, meaning D or Classic, then you need having this arrangement will not be just thought about as being either. So there's a reason for that.
Yes.
I want to feature at some point in some other film. That and the New Orleans I've got as a hero ship in one or two. Gosh, there's another one in that fleet that I can't think of. Like two others in that fleet of like side 359 ships that aren't New Orleans. I got
Cheyenne class.
one of them, yeah, with those kind of cool nacelles. There's one other one I can't think of that I should put somewhere.
Mm.
Yeah, I like this enough, but I know its flaws. But I don't like it. I don't love it enough to go a guilty pleasure. I'm sort of a middle on it.
Yeah.
How are you faring on this in the spectrum of guilty pleasure?
Not even close to being a guilty pleasure. It's just a ship that exists for me. Okay. And it's odd because I do like 3 nacelle designs, which this is definitely one of. Just something about it.
And all of them drives. This is one of the best angles of the ship. Well, I do try, right?
There aren't many. Yeah.
There aren't many shots at it, let alone angles, right? All right, go for the poll and see who has the next.
All right. So the Niagara class with 23 votes. Bad wins with 39%.
Okay.
Good design 35%.
Pretty close.
And guilty pleasure 26%.
Okay, so winning again into the positive, but pretty evenish. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I like it.
And Classic for Real has some comments about the Republic. He says, tell Burnham and Sarah to pick up their own damn ship already. And Kurtzman made a 3D Republic and called it Discovery.
But
and Classic for Real throws in $5 and says the FASA Klingon D11.
Now that's what comes up. Is that what you remember as being?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a guilty pleasure ship of mine as well. I kind of like when they try something new. I'm not a big fan of asymmetrical ships, but the gracefulness of the curves on this.
Yes, Raj. Anything Trek, go for it.
Yes. The gracefulness of the curves on this feel like a Klingon hand weapon, like a mek'leth. And I kind of appreciate that because it's not the more straight edge designs that you seen from a lot of Klingon ships of the time.
Schmebody says that's a TNG one.
Yeah, there's a TOS one as well, I believe.
Did he clarify which one?
He did not.
Wait, it's the. Okay. Gosh, you want to go to the YouTube or Google likes nice drawings, and you go back to a TOS version. It's like the resolution of the drawing is a little bit less detailed when you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then.
Yeah, the next generation version is better than the original.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a classic for real guilty pleasure ship. You may now judge him according.
This is called the One Wing, and yeah, they improved
One wing to wing them all.
Yes.
Okay.
They improved it muchly with the TNG version. This one is somebody forgot to hit mirror image on this one, and it's fine. This to me doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's not very great looking. So, as much as I was praising the last one, this one is not one of my guilty pleasure ships. This is just an oddity that I appreciate for the fact that FASA tried something different. It just doesn't make sense practically as to why they would have this design. Like, there's got to be a reason for this. Something about the warp field geometry or something. I don't know. But to just come up with this design is an oddity. It was just odd for the sake of being odd, as some FASA ships kind of delved into. Most of the designs, of course, were symmetrical, and this was a standout because of the asymmetry of it. Not a fan. Not a fan.
How? So obviously, vote in the poll, guys, because I don't know what you guys think. And again, Classic Frill, you may judge him now.
Yes, I always do judge him.
Wow, now we have proof. What purpose, Mr. Fasserman, Mr. Back in the Day, would you have this be to have this as a design? Give me your Trekyards Fasser Fanboy Love Fest reason.
There's a reason.
Do you feel the bus?
Remember what it is.
Do you feel the bus going over you? I've put you under.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, Adrian, I know.
Yeah, like I said, it might have something to do with warp geometry.
Sure.
Just to throw the enemy off, because the enemy's like, the fuck is that? And that gives you enough time to attack.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see what the actual reason is. There's an actual reason somewhere, but
I mean, it could just be a case of YOLO.
Yeah.
You know, like let's just try something. I mean, if you've got an entire Klingon navy and you can just invent ships and everything takes a few months to create, it's like, yeah, try some stuff, right?
So let's see here. It was commissioned into service in 2262. The vessel never fared well in battle, has been blamed on its asymmetrical design, which worked to restrict the field of fire from the weapon's mounted hardpoints. It was able to travel at speeds of warp 7. It was one of the fastest ships in known space at the time it was commissioned, as well as having satisfactory tactical maneuverability. You can't see it being more maneuverable, but nevertheless, the D11s were unpopular with the crews, for they lacked sufficient power to perform their duties. Yeah, so it was the fastest ship at the time. So yeah, it must have something to do with the warp field geometry. So I was spot on with that. But yeah, and they're later reassigned to light duties because nobody liked them in the Klingon Defense Force.
Hey, if it's fast, I mean that's the logic.
Sure, but I need an explanation as to why it's faster. But we could definitely do that for Trekyards. Yep.
Quantum.
Everything is quantum.
Quantum. All right, we have 7. Come on, guys. 30 votes on the poll. Got at least 20 to see what you guys think. Ha, Patrick. At least we're still flying half a ship. Yeah. Oh, where's the Onum says maybe a clear entry to Shuttle Base to drop troops. See, I could see it being the opposite, being that irrespective of whatever. What if the reverse side to the wing, all along it is Shuttle Base, and so when it warps in, they can just launch.
Yeah.
I say you need a really weird because from one entire half the ship view is fully protected, and there's launches versus the back where you can only have it so much. I mean, yeah, if this thing launches a swarm of shuttles.
Grant Johnson, it's a half-assed design. That's funny. Gurganzol 86, the actual reason was the designer wanted it to look a bit like the Millennium Falcon.
Fail. I mean, cool, good job.
I mean, from the front, kind of, sure, but yeah.
So I asked ChatGPT to make a new view of this ship.
Oh, good God.
It failed miserably. I actually made 2 wings. I said, make 1 wing, you idiot, and it did. It's not the same ship, but it is a Klingon ship.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that fitting in the world of FASA too. So good job.
Yep.
All right, next up we got Schmobuddy with $5. The Man class starship. There's some more updated renders that improve upon the drawing. It's a clunky boy on stick legs, and it's awesome.
And there is both the classic and some renders.
We gotta.
Yes, please do.
Finish this poll. So the D11, bad 65%. Guilty pleasure 15%, and good comes in at 20%.
So classic, we love you, love it. End of sentence.
So now the Man class starship. This looks like it's from the ships of the space type chronology. That painting for sure. Definitely not a guilty pleasure of mine. Don't like the design, but it feels. That's one thing about the spaceflight chronology, because it was just based on TOS and just the motion picture. So those are the only designs they had to go with as far as evolution goes. So this kind of makes sense. Like I was saying earlier, just having a sphere is one of the most simple, strongest shapes. Hence the Daedalus class. This has that squished, so not be a perfect sphere. And having the protruding nacelles at the back with the interesting end pieces, I think is a good pre-TOS kind of design and would work for me, even pre-Daedalus class. Or at least maybe even the same fleet as the Daedalus class, something in the Romulan War era. Yeah, I think it's an interesting enough design, but it's definitely not a guilty pleasure of mine. So, yeah. You might want to unhighlight your box too, because it's.
And do let us know why it's your guilty pleasure, because I want to know your specific reasons for this, because obviously it's based on your thought process. Yeah, it's. I mean, you talk about being. It's not Star Trek looking, but it looks like an author at the time said, "How can we take the barest fundamentals and then go back 40 years? Oh, okay. Well, let's take." I can see the line, even if we're not there yet, because you've got the old art styling of a nice author, a nice graphic of the time. It has a certain, like, this could be the book cover of the next Alien, not the show, not from Alien, but just an Alien
of the time.
Yeah, but there is, okay, I see engines, I see, like, you can still see a line of source and nacelle pylons, but it doesn't look Starfleet in any way.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this feels like one of the design sketches from Matt Jeffries, because he did a bunch. There was a bunch of shapes that he sketched. It feels like it's an early one of those that somebody just embellished on.
Possibly. I mean, it said it was better when you add the pennants and the I commend the renders. It looks better. It's kind of like almost like a failed Daedalus, like a proto Daedalus. Like we didn't even get to the ball yet. We thought we were doing this, and it evolved into that. And it's amazing how much Daedalus works. Although of course it's just basically shaped with a ball. So why is it a guilty pleasure for you? And if you see it, Stuart, read it out.
I haven't. I've been looking for his answer for that, and I don't see it. So Schmo Buddy, why is this a guilty pleasure ship for you? Is it because it's the spaceflight chronology, and before any of the other technical manuals existed, that was kind of like one of our Bibles as far as the history of spaceflight? I'd buy that, because that's one of the reasons I like a lot of the things that I like.
So it definitely has a charm.
Yes.
And it feels giant. It feels, at least for me, feels giant, at least the concept one.
Does, yeah.
So it rings as a, very early exploration, but mostly colonizing ship, to warp in, to almost like crash intentionally, and then people pull wreckage apart to create like that sort of blunt force instrument sort of ship. No elegance, no
Conestoga class, designed to be taken apart.
Boom. But it has got some charm.
And Schmobody says, yes, that's it exactly. Because it was part of the spaceflight chronology book, yeah. You studied it and read every page and dog-eared every page, and you loved it, and then they came along with real canon and fucked it all up for you. Yeah, I can relate.
I mean, the Conestoga is a bit nicer than this, though, in fairness.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, guys. The poll. Well, come on, 4 more votes. Want to get 50? Want to get 50.
Let's try to get 4 more votes in the poll. Yeah, let's get up to 20.
Oh, sorry, 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Says it looks like Earth, Starship, Starfleet goes Flash Gordon. A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be pretty, though. That's fine.
Yep. Well, we'll just end the poll with 17 votes. That's fine. So what do people think of this design? 65% say bad, 22% say good, and 17% say a guilty pleasure. And those numbers just changed. It's 58% for bad now, 16% for guilty pleasure, and 26% for good. So interesting. Cool. Yeah, this is a fun idea. I like this live discussion, because we love looking at ships that we normally wouldn't consider looking at, and you guys really make that happen with these kind of lives, and we appreciate that. So
yeah, if we want to fund us looking at ships, and you guys want to buy ships, let's be the community, come together, and we do it. It's great.
And Schmobuddy, $5. The FASA Remora class escort gives me Stingray vibes. Yes, I like this ship.
That one?
Yeah. No, this is. Oh, yes, that's one. Yes, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, FASA did a lot of. There was a lot of designs in FASA. Some worked better than others. Some pieces were actually designed in FASA. Others were just slapped together haphazardly. This is one of the ones that I think stands out as something special. And I've always kind of liked this design because all the angles look really great. It has a very aggressive kind of look. So yeah, this is actually one of the guilty pleasure FASA ships for me. But yeah, it's an interesting design. I think it's based off of Romulan technology. It's something about, I think there's something in the write up about it. Because it does, you could easily turn this into a Romulan design. Just change a few shapes here and there. But no, I like it. I think it's an interesting new dynamic, and it's something that would look really good in the fleet of the motion picture era. It's just a scout ship. It's a single stealth scout ship with some design flair. It's not as simplistic as like the Acula class, which does have 2 nacelles, but you know what I mean? That's way more Federation standard design. This steps out of the box a little bit, but still feels Starfleet. So,
just to mildly ignore everything you said for a brief second.
Yes.
Because I like to do funny things. You know, so we should go to the cinema more. The cinema more, you and me, Stuart. We really should. That's what I think. Right?
Sure.
And what's the old adage, Pixar didn't happen? Maybe we did.
Yeah. Pixar didn't happen. What are we looking at now? Oh my goodness. That's great. That is so us. That is awesome. I love it.
Perfectly captures you and many of your feels.
I don't know why we're facing that way.
Well, let's just see let's let them see us.
Well, it's us giving a technical briefing on the ship in the Trekyards landscape. That's what that is. It's pretty great. But anyway, yes, the Remora class. A lot of the.
So I should join AI Lives, guys. You have shit like this. It's amazing.
Yes. A lot of the FASA designs are guilty pleasures of mine, and this is one of them. I do like this design. Something about it just feels special. It doesn't feel like slapped together. It feels like it was actually kind of designed, and I appreciate that with the FASA stuff because it's not all like that. So, yeah.
Now, in the same, to follow the logic, you acknowledge it's not a great looking ship or a great ship, but it's a guilty pleasure. Or are you saying it's actually a good ship and not a guilty pleasure?
I think it's actually a good ship.
So it's not a guilty pleasure.
So it's just a FASA ship that I enjoy. There you go. I wouldn't be embarrassed to say that I like this ship. So yeah, it's not really a guilty pleasure, but
yeah, for me this is a yeah. I mean, it looks so much like several other ones that were sketched in this book. Right, the same 3 shots. They've just sort of like, you know, on line paper, they've sketched the basic shapes and then just said, how can we add some new bits and, you know. Yeah. But also that's pods, right? That's very logical. One nacelle feels a bit odd. Well, I wonder, it kind of has that is it Shangri-La, but the slight cut-ins for no reason into the saucer of those sorts of ships. But the pods, I mean, from the front. Oh yeah.
That's I'm just trying to step away from the standard saucer and do something different, because like I said, a lot of them were just pieces of the refit just reconfigured. So I appreciate any of the guys that did something different and changed the shape, like the Andor class. Fucking love the Andor class. I think it's an objectively great design, and it's not a guilty pleasure. It's a fantastic design. It's something different with the same kind of pieces. So yeah, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
yeah. I certainly, if you were doing any more design work on this than a sketch in a book, right? The front, why is this lines, right? Like, I sense no function from the pods of any kind from this because there's nothing going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do anything with them, you'd have to have design work, but obviously they couldn't with this. So I'm wondering, is it a mega ultra torpedo set of pods? No, probably not. Wrong scaling. Giant shell hangers, sure. But then you're removing a secondary hull. Like, just use a secondary hull ship then. Don't have a single hull small ship to shove onto hangar pods. Like you're sort of reducing the. You know what I mean? I'm wondering what they do because they're so distinct, but I can't sense real function from them.
There would be a purpose. See, fast all the ships have write-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Some were marine transports. Some were like landing pods. There's different things, right? So yeah, I don't know what the purpose of this one was.
The bottom one kind of reminds me of someone who's holding two little flappy wing modules, like it has a little bit of that, and the side view is a bit it's just the top view is the coolest, but they can't quite integrate because it can't be integrated, right? It's a saucer with some add-ons. Yeah, I'd love to know the function. But I get why it's nowhere near as radical as like the Wasp, but it changes the thought process so much.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
It is an escort ship, so yeah, it's just because it's a scout. It's a single nacelle, so it's not supposed to be as powerful as the other ships.
Yes.
It says the Remora was doubly handicapped by its lack of power and its lack of photon torpedoes. So it didn't have photon torpedoes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of downsides to this thing. Like lack of power for phasers. The Remora never has enough power to move and raise shields without leaving the phaser banks dry. What? Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know the purpose of the pods.
But what's the poll say?
On the Remora class, good design, 52%. Bad design, 26%. And guilty pleasure, 22%. So pretty even. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I like it.
Classic for real, $5. Okay, fine. Cheyenne class 2. 4 nacelles are better than 3 nacelles. Ugh. I don't like the Cheyenne class. I really don't.
You know what, Stuart? I could guess you don't.
Could you have guessed it?
I could have. Because when we went to the cinema that one time...
Oh, good God.
Your face just didn't express to me that you liked this ship. And as we talked about it, yeah.
You said there would be no photos from that session.
Well, yeah, we shouldn't be doing the thing where they take a picture mid-ride.
Oh, okay.
As our mistake.
You seem to really like the Cheyenne class.
I mean, there's also a hot waitress selling drinks in the front row. Bit distracted. Also got 4 fingers. Can't he?
Said, well, since you like it so much in this picture, why don't you talk about
it? Then you can write the poll.
You can copy and paste the poll because
I know that's what I've
been doing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is obviously of the same fleet, but it's actually a proper design. It's got a new saucer, new nacelles, new secondary hull, new neck hull blades, and new pylon blades. And it's a very thin, nimble-looking ship that is fully new. Yet, obviously, the Stowe version of the Eaglemoss version of the build version kind of refined a bit. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. It's not gonna win any sexiest competition ship, but it's actually something that's truly in between. This is actually a fully fleshed out ship, except when you look at window scale and it's like, oh. Escape pod should be much larger, or the windows should be much smaller. Either I'll be happy with, and they've done neither, which is a problem. Or there's insanely bay windows, which I'm not happy with. But yeah, I think it's a reasonably good design because it's built by the teams, right? This is the actual, just like the Sabres team, right? They are the original teams. To be something a bit different, and quite different, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, I give them props for the different nacelle design. I really like that. It's kind of a step away from the regular fleet, either like an older design or whatever. But the one thing I have issues with, and I do take issue with, and this is the window scaling. A lot of the Wolf 359 ships suffer from this, where the window scale is totally ridiculously wrong, or the ship is super small. So, but yeah, just design-wise, I'm not a fan of 4 nacelled ships. Much like 3 nacelled ships, 4 nacelled ships aren't really, like you got Lorca's ship, and it feels odd from the front and the back. The Constellation, I mean, that's probably one of the better ones for me. And this feels like, they took that idea and just evolved it to make this as the next version of that, but it doesn't quite work with the saucer for me. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of 4 nacelled ships, so yeah.
Well, this is one that would take so little time and effort to be fleshed out. Like, all the base ingredients are there. You should pick a scale.
Yes, that's important.
Redesign the windows and the escape pods to all match that scale, and then add. And then once you decide it, if it's small, you have a few details. Cool. Big, add more details appropriate. All you gotta do, right, does not take much to make the ship a lot better and bigger, logic wise. So this is, but for a ship that was never intended to be seen, right? It's one of the most interesting of those, and it runs reasonably well for me.
Dan says, does it fire torpedoes on that top middle point? I mean, maybe backwards.
I think it's the Enterprise D. I think it's a single D style torpedo in the middle. There? I'm pretty sure, because this is obviously this is closer, newer, so they'd have the Enterprise D style versus the TMP style. Pretty sure it does, yeah.
But the scaling's all fucked, so.
Yeah, by being faithful to the original miniature, they broke the scale for then and then evermore.
Yes.
But 20 votes, Stuart. Let's see what people said and go on to the next one.
All right, so Cheyenne class, 61% say it's a good design, 14% say bad design, and guilty pleasures 25%.
People like it, Stuart. People like it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Classic Rail, $5. Okay, the TNG era Klingon D11 One Wing 2. Yes, this, like I said earlier, this is one of my guilty pleasure fast Klingon ships. I think they took the ugly design of the TOS version, or the refit era, and made it much better as this. The fact that the nacelles are still very Katinga era, and I think this is the Katinga. I don't think this is actually the next generation era. I think it's close to, but it's not. I don't think Fast ever went up to the next generation era. So yeah, this is just a later iteration of the other design, which I think works a lot better asymmetry wise than the other D11. This one has, like I said, interesting shapes, feel very Klingon kind of hand weapon. It feels like a blade. It really does. And it looks much better from all the angles. The top is actually fantastic. Love the curves on it. From the front, it feels like a cohesive design as opposed to an incomplete design. So yeah, this is a better version of the D11. And yeah, it's one that I've always I appreciated seeing in the silhouette of fast Klingon designs, because it stands out as something different and unique. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this one has a lot more thought put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also it shows how the evolution of shapes, you add the Klingon style detailing and it, looks cooler, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has a very Vorcha styling of detailing of the plate lines, I would say. So it very could easily been TNG backdate. I almost had like a harp, the lyre from Vulcan, is it kind of slightly that shape in a sense? I mean, it's way too flat. It could really have done with having two different shoulder engine pods on either side, that would have really helped, and some like bottom something or other, because it's just absurdly flat. I have no idea why it's so flat. The
Or
top
even making that one pod at the back a little taller, so from the front it has more going on.
because the top's a really, really cool angle. It's a really, really cool shape. The flat is boring as hell. It looks like the a Spaceball ship.
Spaceball one.
I mean, a little bit, right?
From the side, yeah.
A little bit, and the front is boring. It looks like I don't know what, but the top is really cool.
The front looks like a serving platter.
Yeah.
It's a plate.
Yeah. Yeah. I always felt like this kind of would benefit from like having the warp engines be almost like the Prometheus from Voyager hidden, and when they used to go to warp, the things like go up, it says 4 up and extend, so it keeps a very slim profile in battle, which is you could argue is a function, and then for warp it extends, giving you the depth. Right, little things like that would be a fun function, and then you could argue it's meant to be entirely flat and hidden, so it can't be hit. Okay, buy it.
Maybe it's like the chariot class, and the head module like rotates, and the ship actually turns, so it flies like, vertically. And then in battle it does this, or for high warp it does this or something. You could do something like that.
I'm picturing the most ridiculous thing ever. Imagine the head, and the body spins around it.
What, for the mycelial drive?
Yes!
On mycelial drive?
They spin now, Stuart.
They spin now.
They spin now.
Sweet.
Just like they spinned in the Clone Wars. But they forgot.
All right. Darren Wagner, $2. USS Lantry, TNG
you forgot
Season
the poll.
2. Oh, poll. Who likes this one? Bad design, 42%. Wow. Good design, 38%. Guilty pleasure, 19%.
And now, as you were saying,
Darren Wagner, $2.
Hi,
USS
Darren.
Lantry, TNG Season 2 is my guilty pleasure.
Okay, why? Because as far as I remember, Stuart, that is just a Miranda class without the world bar.
Yep.
So talk to me, Darren. Why is this a good pleasure for you? I think people don't like the Miranda. I mean, fair enough. Do you think people don't like the Miranda without its roll bar?
I'm not a big fan of the Miranda without a roll bar.
There you go, Stuart.
This is one of the best designs, though, that doesn't have the roll bar. Because it is literally just a Miranda class without a roll bar. And I think it works. There are the other ones, like the Soyuz class and stuff, that with extra shit on them that I don't really appreciate. This is just a fine starship design to me. It's just a variation of the Miranda class. So it's not a guilty pleasure at all. It's just one that I'd be happy to say that I like. So, yeah.
Yeah, let us know why it's guilty pleasure for you. I really want, give us a reason.
Because Darren probably thinks it's better because it's flatter.
Well, that's what
Doesn't have the more roundness to it.
That's what sounds. I mean, he does reply though. If you want to read that.
It's a stripped down Miranda. I like the simplicity. Perfect. Yeah. It's not as battle ready as the Miranda because it's missing the weapons pod and the mega phasers. So.
And Sean says, "Can I vote for the new TIE fighter in Andor tonight? Is Andor coming back tonight?"
I think Andor it's already been back. It's got one or two episodes out already, which I haven't watched yet. I was gonna actually talk to Celia tonight about watching those. So. Yeah. But yeah.
The thing about the Miranda, right, is that for me, this is the default Miranda. The Reliant is a Miranda with add-on.
It's the Avenger class. It's the heavy upgrade.
So because already you wouldn't assume the Reliant was the standard, just like Runabout. It's with torpedo roll bar. So this for me actually feels kind of more elegant in a way. It's sleeker. It just is a simple Starfleet ship. Cool. But then
Science vessel.
Yeah, or just multi-purpose medium ship, right? There's no particular use case. It's just lots of internal volume, good warp, good shuttle bays. Doesn't sin, right? There's not much going on. The roll bar makes it real freaking tactical.
Yeah, And Darren says, yeah, Lantry is not ready for action, and I kind of like that. Yeah.
And Adrian says Andor's back, and I too will be watching the first 3 episodes later. How did I even finish Andor? I really enjoyed it, and the thing about Andor is that it's good compared. It wasn't good at the time, like good, but it got good. It got good
took a while
when
to get into. First 3 or 4 episodes were kind of rough for me.
But it got good when you then compared to other shows that came after. That just aren't as well made shows. Now it looks like the crown achievement of the TV world. But everything else that came after it, they all had problems, like proper problems. Like I like.
It was good at the time. It was good. I disagree with that.
But I mean, like it wasn't appreciated because it had problems that were just pacing and build, whereas the other shows have real problems. And now it's looked upon as like hopefully they're the best one because it's actually a really good thing.
Well, Ahsoka's really good too, though. So
I look forward to watching it. I got 4K there? Somewhere there. I keep saying that. Hey, season 2, right? Anakin's back. Duh. He better be back. Bloody big,
Anyway, Lantry.
What?
Not a guilty pleasure. It's just a good design. So I would not be embarrassed to say that I like this design.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really. I would not assume people would think negatively about it. They just think, oh, it's a less detailed Miranda. That's wouldn't think good pleasure would be in the lineup. But the poll, I think, speaks to that because that is our Darren. You got the strongest one yet. Wowza!
For just a good design, yeah. Good design, 90%. Bad and guilty pleasure are tied at 5%. So yeah, it's not a guilty pleasure. It's just a good ship. So
it's just a naughty boy. Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Next.
Schmo Buddy, $5. FASA Northampton class always blew my mind when I first saw it. I like a heavy cruiser, mobile star yard, ready, scoop up damaged or stranded ships.
Now, I want to jump in first, just briefly.
Sure.
Boy, it's so much like the first one you submitted.
That I submitted?
Yeah, the chariot, being the.
Oh yeah.
Like in how it's so different. I just wanted to say that I can see why you love it so much because it's already, Right, now to you, Stuart.
Yeah, this is one I had one of the miniatures of, and I do like the design of this as well. It does feel like a dry dock from the front, and just the way that the engines are placed is interesting because it's keeping the Starfleet design aesthetic of keeping them away from the hull, but in a new, unique way. The top, I think, always looked great. The side, I was never a fan of the profile view of it, but the front and the top, I think, look really fantastic. And it's kind of for me, it's right up there with the Andor class for favorite FASA designs. FASA's still, Andor is still more. We were just talking about Andor. But the Andor class is my favorite FASA design, I think. This is like right up there, just slightly under it, just for the uniqueness of it, but still feeling like a cohesive part of the fleet. And being with enough changes design-wise to be unique and something that isn't just a thrown-together kit bash. Something about it. That's just, I like the dimensionality of it. I like the shapes and the way it kind of comes together. So yeah, this is, again, I don't know if I would call it a guilty pleasure. If I was showing somebody a picture of it from the side, then it would feel like I'm saying it's a guilty pleasure. But overall, I just think it's a good design. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say it looks a bit wonky, but that is its charm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wouldn't say, I mean, not everything has to be the standard hero, like the Cerritos, right? It doesn't look good, but I can understand it. And in fact, that front view is very, well, not very, but it's Cerritos-esque.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I it has charm. I don't know if it's tricky because it's not the best thing ever. It's not the worst thing ever. I do like it quite a bit, but it certainly has a fragileness to it.
Yeah.
Which definitely makes you think, why? Because the design had to make something different. That's it, right? That's why. But you could take it and do very small things and make it a really interesting, fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a good design that is a is a brighter gem of a time of let's shove stuff at the wall and see what sticks. This one sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the cleanest of stick, but it's a good stick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think people like it in general. I think it's, you know, I think we have fond memories for this. So I imagine it was a miniature with how 3D it is.
I've got it. I just gotta go find it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, if you want to, I mean, the 3D-ness does make it feel unique, I'm guessing, right? From seeing it in the three-dimensional.
Yeah, I don't think I can figure it out right now.
That's
but
okay.
yeah, I do have it. So it's one of the ones I picked up. I didn't pick up just all the miniatures. I picked up the ones I liked. So
Yeah. And Trek Commanders never seen this before. Ooh, this is the first one that has a guilty pleasure as being, I think, the top score. Okay.
Yeah. 22 votes. Guilty pleasure wins with 41%. Good at 36%, and bad design at 23%.
We are learning stuff about our audience. I love it. I love it, guys.
This has been a fun live. I've really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
It's not only a trip down memory lane, but it's just there's some interesting designs out there.
So it can't be ones that are good. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benjamin Stone, 5 pounds, 32nd century Saturn class, not just a standard ship or shape disassembled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ugh, okay. It's an interesting design, I'll say that. It's kind of reminiscent of the McGee class a little bit. This is just better. Again, it feels like kind of a alien hand weapon of some sort. You just hold and point the prongs forward. But
Or Millennium Falcon in reverse.
Sure.
Almost like just move that one prong that way. Falcon.
Yes, yeah, there you go.
Pretty close, that really.
No, this is not another one that I wouldn't be embarrassed to say I like because it's a pretty.
I like
interesting
classic
design.
suggestions.
What?
I like classic suggestions.
Sure. Yeah, I wouldn't consider this a guilty pleasure. I wouldn't blame anybody for liking this. I think a guilty pleasure kind of, if somebody says they like a ship and you kind of judge them a little bit, that's a guilty pleasure. This one I'd be like, that's cool. Yeah, I can see why you'd like it. I just think it's a lot of wasted space, and I want a reason for the big cutout in the middle of it because you could fill that in and get so much more internal volume, so many more people on board, and have a much better usage of the space. So what's the cutout for? Just for the sake of having one, I guess. I like it. I like this design.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would consider this a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
Because I think it is a oddly cohesive design. Mostly because the detailing I really like. I like the cut-ins. I like in the stone model the glows are throughout and it gives me more oomph, I believe. I like the random line cut-ins of it has a certain je ne sais quoi, which is not Star Trek, but it is not Starfleet, but it is feature, but it isn't. Like it has allowed that creative license of being weird, but something about the overall shapes are quite nice. Now it could easily be a building if you put it aside. Like the things it could be as well.
Yeah.
But the detail is nice.
It feels almost skeletal.
Yeah, sure.
It feels like it's the skeletal ship. There's more to it before, and it's I don't know how to describe it. It just feels kind of skeletal.
I think it's just like window slots. I would say or something of that ilk. No, I think people in general dislike the 32nd century designs in general, and a few of them I think are interesting enough to call guilty pleasure. I would say this is not my top one, but is certainly not the bottom of those fleet. This I think it has just the detailing is just nice. I like other ones more of that fleet. Some I just do not like. I think it's a fine enough thing. You could put in many different sci-fi universes without any changes.
Yeah. This is the upper end of that fleet though, as far as design wise for me. It's not the stapler. Forget what the stapler ship is called, but you know the one I'm talking about.
Yippers!
That's just a shit design. If you like that and it's a guilty pleasure, I definitely will judge you.
What's
let's
the
see
poll
what people
say?
about this thing. Guilty pleasure wins with 39%. Well, tied with bad. Bad and guilty pleasure both 39%, and good design at 22%. So, yeah. All right. Next up, we got Sean O'Sullivan, £2.
Thank you.
€2. Sorry. The Foley.
Oh.
SF. Trust the crew, just not her captain. Oh.
So are you guilty for liking her? Is what he's going for?
I mean, I can't comment on this ship. I designed it, so.
Yeah. This will be the for poll to decide.
There are things I would change if I could go back, but it is what it is. I'm 90% confident in this design.
Well, that's good.
I think the refit design's a lot better, but hey. Anyway.
If only the thing wouldn't crash.
Uh-oh. Crash.
Good. Good. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. Horizon is such that it's a great design. Nothing about it I don't like really, except lighting it sucks because it's got such a curve that like just you light it from left or right, and it's just so much of the lights or doesn't light. It's like shit. Whereas the Voyager has that beautiful curve that it's like a little bit of it's great, more of it's great, more of it's great. Anything Connie, you just light one side harshly, does the rest. Horizon is the angle is not kind for lighting the way Trek lighting is. I couldn't have known that to built it. It's just yes.
And Rick is here. He's just saying hi and buy you a beer. Thanks, Rick.
Ah.
STEM support. Good guy.
It does help. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, vote in the poll. This is a important one. Be honest, right? Because I've had so many compliments in the last fan film feature about how it's great. It just fits in well. And let's be honest, right? Very few new TOS ships get the level of care and attention and detail that Mark and Matt did on the texture and building of her for that level of detail.
Yeah.
Very few get that. So it benefits from a very high fidelity. Like this is better than the TOS remastered model. Easily.
Yeah.
It's more detailed than the TOS intermodal model. That's just a classic Connie, right? But like this thing is significantly more detailed than any of those ships.
Yeah.
So it might be the most detailed TOS era ship for a while.
Mark Bell and Matt Boardman, thank you guys.
Indeed.
And of course Barry Chapman for helping with the design as well. Good guy.
Also, the design was you and him, and then the boys took it to the extra level of detail, like to really bring it into the.
Yeah.
And it shows how much a TOS ship can sing, that clean aesthetic. Okay, Matt put quite a lot of dirt, but I'm sure you had some level of how much dirt to include, and it's pretty dirty.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. It gives it texture, literally.
I like my ships like I like my women. Dirty.
And got 3 of things, a la Mars.
So
get your ass to Mars, Jet. Get your ass to Mars.
All right, let's see what the people are saying. Good wins with 69%.
Hey, is good number.
And bad and guilty pleasure are both at 15%. Yeah, this is one I wouldn't consider a guilty pleasure. It's just a good design, or it's a design you don't like.
You're allowed to say that. I think it's fair.
Thank you guys.
And I'm quite proud of my lighting with it, so I'm not going to be shameful on that either.
Yes. Classic for real, $2. FASTA Fenland class Federation monitor.
Never seen this before. Well done.
Death Star. Yeah.
Something new, classic. Well done. You genuinely caught me off guard with this.
This is just the ball section of a Daedalus class without any of the other parts. Got the 2 airlocks. It's just the most simplistic shape. Like I said earlier about simplistic shapes, like the McGee class. This is one that you would go for because spheres are super strong. Spheres are found everywhere in nature. It's kind of like the natural way that you would design a ship if you didn't have to be fancy about it, because the internal volume is quite substantial in a sphere. So yeah, it's I can't see this being anybody's guilty pleasure ship though. I don't know who would like this.
I mean, classic clearly is. So let us know. Clearly.
It's just kind of
I mean, in fairness, it's a pretty highly detailed dead list. Like they did not just take a dead list. They detailed it with random greeblies all over the place. It is actually something new, but I mean, it's not just a dead list, right? So, kind of looks like a close up of the got Force Awakens, obviously. A New Hope.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that, but tiny greeblies. Because why not?
Mm-hmm.
So why classic? Is it such a guilty pleasure for you?
Well, he just says LOL story. Just thought it would be funny to nominate.
Oh.
So he's not doesn't actually find it.
No, I think he's trying to hide his truth. I think he's now
Maybe.
revealed.
Maybe.
One of his favourite ships and potentially around me. Could be.
Let's see what everybody else is saying. If I could open the goddamn thing. There we go. Bad design, 56%. Guilty pleasure and good are tied at 22%. Interesting. All right. Schmobuddy, $5. FASA Romulan V30 Wing Defender. It's criminal that it's not full Loctite in your face cannon. Caca. Yes.
That one didn't see that one.
V30. Hit like, guys. We have 66 likes, which is great. 60 people here, also great. Make sure you're subscribed. And also, yeah, hit like if you haven't. Let's try to get up to 80 likes.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a pretty big jump.
More the merrier, though.
I think we get close. Ah, yes, the Wing Defender. Taking the Romulan bird motif aesthetic to the next level, because that's exactly what this looks like from the side. You can tell this was designed as the side shape and then went from there. Yeah, I mean, this is another one of the ones I had the miniature of, but the Romulan ship designs were quite varied in FASA. But yeah, they've definitely carried on the bird motif. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I would not say I wouldn't say it's a bad design, but it's not one of my guilty pleasure ones. This didn't pop to me as a great FASA design. The only reason I got it as a miniature was because it was available when I went to buy them, and it was cool to have other Romulan designs besides just the original TOS bird prey, right? So, but it never really grew on me like I think I wanted it to. So. And you got to admit that front view looks very bird of prey landing configuration, which I've never noticed before. But yeah, I can see why people like it. So I wouldn't necessarily consider it a guilty pleasure, but I think it's an interesting, good design. Yeah.
This is the one I would see, I guess, in the video games, fans made mod models of, and therefore I saw it in games. So this is, for me, one of the closer to the close to official ships, because it was in so many things. Because I can see why, right? It's such a distinct visual. As other ships are literal in Romulan, I mean, this is very literal. Definitely aggressive, definitely mean, definitely like how the Klingon bird of prey is not a bird literally, but it's a bird styled. This is a bird literally and bird styled. It kind of like, two paths of a similar species, one did that direction, but they both had the same bird. But I think it's a generally good design. I've seen very nice renders of it. It would look cool. I'm interested in the result here, because I think Guilty Pleasure might win just because it's a bit daft. But I mean, the Romulans painted birds on their ships. That's obviously daft as well, right? Like from a purely functional point of view. But that's how they fly. All right. Yeah. So, yeah, I want to know what you guys think.
Let's see what the poll is saying. 28 votes. Wow, this one inspired people. Good design, 61%. Guilty pleasure, 21%. And bad design, 18%.
Well, there you go. And now we know. Very nice.
Classic for real, $2. How can I forget to bump up the Rainforest ship? Well, spoilers, you can't bump up the Rainforest ship with a $5 super chat. So.
Ooh.
Nice try.
So close.
Sci-fi source, $5. The TOS fan design Coralv class tug. You guys did a video on it. What a shock. We've done videos on lots of ships.
Boy, if someone could...
I don't remember half of them, honestly. I need to go back and watch those. Oh, yes, this thing.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the... What do we say?
It feels like the Starfleet Battles design.
January 2nd, 2019. I had currently very short hair. You start the video drinking a coffee. Or other drink.
Probably alcohol.
Yeah. And a fan, I believe this was a fan-sponsored one, where they gave us renders that were not lit.
Mm.
They were just sort of flat. But it had the design, just no shadows, really. That's not the... Wait, hold on, that's not the... That's not the ship in the video that I'm watching. There's us. What?
I don't even know.
I do trust past me. But just gonna ignore that for a second. He said Coralv, right?
Yes. Coralv class tug. It didn't look like a tug.
Okay, un momento.
Un momento. Hit like. We got 71 likes. We're almost at that 80 that I want. So another 9 likes. We can do it. Hit like if you haven't already.
I'm gonna get a bit meta here.
That's not it. Coralv is a single nacelle with a pod on the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, this is the video I clicked on, so I wonder why the thumbnail is not actually the ship in the video. Meta!
Yeah, it's like the Ptolemy class tug, but with a different nacelle configuration. I mean, and again, I don't consider it a guilty pleasure ship. I mean, it's just a good TOS design. Yeah, the lighting is off, isn't it?
Well, there's no lighting.
I know. The saucer just blends into the pod.
Yes, and there's our wonderful selves.
Yes, aren't we sexy?
And we know it. Is any piece of your background still there behind you? From that background?
No.
I mean, like, not even pulled. No. You know, I can see the full version on the other monitor. I should look at the actual screen. Yeah, no.
No, it's totally different.
Yeah.
I look back at that old one and I just cringe because it's just fucking cluttered.
Well, it's stuff you put on the wall, right?
Yeah, it was. When you were here, you saw the wall was totally covered.
Yes.
And now it's like classier.
Classy. I'll not even say it's a good design, really. In terms of a design, it's just a Saladin and single nacelle tug.
It's like the Saladin and the Ptolemy had a baby.
And they called him Tug and did nothing else with that. It'll be a tug, sir. It's okay, thanks, Dad.
Why are we using motion picture era L cars in that one?
I think it's the only one we had.
Okay.
I think.
This was still back when it said Captain Foley on every L cars. Because it was originally my channel. Oh, the good old days. Yeah, let's see what you guys are saying about it. I just consider it a classic TOS design, so I wouldn't call any of those guilty pleasures necessarily.
I would say bad. It's not really a design.
There you go.
Yeah.
So 55% disagree with you and say it's a good design.
But that's why I clarified.
27% say it's a bad design. And 17% say it's a guilty pleasure. Cool. All right. Moving on.
There goes past us.
The STEM support, yes. Just saying hi. And a beer. Thank you so much, Rick. Schmobuddy, $5. FASA Klingon D18 Gullwing class destroyer. Gives some different dimension to the standard TOS Klingon shape, but still familiar. It's funny because my buddy Blappy is making a 1/350 scale version of this ship from scratch. Because it was one of his favorite FASA Klingon designs, the Gullwing. Which is, of course, inspired by the DeLorean of the time. To kind of have that Gullwing shape. Yeah, this I would consider a guilty pleasure design because, yeah, look at it. It's pretty freaking hideous. The top view's fine, feels very standard Klingon. Side view, not so much. The head of the ship is very oddly shaped. The front is an interesting, and that's where the Gullwing type look comes from. Like, you can see a DeLorean's doors just open there. Yep, I can see why people like this, first of all, and why it would be considered a guilty pleasure, because it might be embarrassing to say you like this. It's one of the more unique FASA Klingon designs, and it stands out, and I think that's really important. It's another one that, when I think FASA Klingon, this is one of the first ones that pops into my head just for its uniqueness. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly, but that's neither here nor there. So, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's at least it's more different from the side and the front. It's a D7 with some legs that have been broken up.
Oh, ow, painful.
But the side is way too flat and the front is ugly. So it's got to be
I
about.
kind of like the front. I kind of like the front dynamic.
Hey, you could be ugly and sexy. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'd say yeah, bad on this because it doesn't really come together. And also the side's very Star Wars. Just something about it. But I know why it's charming. But
you know why people would like it as a guilty pleasure, right?
Yeah, but it would need a lot of up detailing, like logic wise, to be guilty pleasure. Like, the sketch is so basic, right? It's not doing any favors. But if this is all you had at the time, then you know what I mean. Like, that would be what you expect. This I would need to see more detailed. Yeah, but I see why. I can get it.
Yeah, and like I said, Blappy's building this, and it's going to be interesting to see how the detail he puts into it, because he thought it was unique. It was one of his favorite Klingon designs from FASA. So let's see what you guys are saying about it. Oh, we're still Foley classing it up there.
Oh, weird.
Was that for this one? Hulak says, I feel like the neck is a little too long. Yeah, it could be truncated down a bit.
I assume people didn't read the poll and just voted, so read out those and assume that's the right one, because I must have probably not
we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
This design is a good design, 47%, bad, 28%, and guilty pleasure, 23%. So, yeah. All right.
Last few minutes, guys. Are any more canon, like properly canon ones you want to put in? You got last little bit.
It kind of devolved into a FASA, which is fine.
I mean, we never get to talk about them, so that's
Yeah. Classic for real, $2. Don't know what stapler ship is. Still nominating it. Oh, this fucking thing.
Yes, the USS this fucking thing.
Yes, if you like this, I am sorry, but you're wrong. This is a 32nd century Discovery ship, and it's hideous.
Says the man that just thought the other one was a guilty pleasure ship. So we all have our guilty pleasures, right?
Sure. But if you like this, you're wrong. Who would like this design and why?
Be on. Don't just troll Stuart, right? Put a genuine results in the poll, okay? This is for science. Science.
It's for science, bitches. What is the class name of this? Do you know?
Someone did say, and I googled it and moved on.
Oh.
So that person that said it reset it. Dresselhaus. Yeah, Never gonna stick in my brain. That's okay.
Yeah, no, uninspired. Doesn't feel advanced or any kind of special going on here. It just literally feels like somebody was told to design a ship and they had a stapler on their desk and they're like, that's a good shape. I'm going to go with that. It just, nothing about it is good. Sorry.
Clearly Starfleet, though, with its visible saucer ring at the front and the 7 nacelles at the back, right?
100%. 100%. The most Starfleet of Starfleet designs.
Excellent. Excellent.
Random Actor of Chaos. The Swing Line class. Yes. Yes. Swing Line class. Love that.
Deary me. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the sort of hyper background ship that you can see exists. There's got to have been a specific brief for this that is unknown to me. I mean, I would buy this as a future tug, with each prong being a tractor beam emitter.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So for that,
yeah,
cool. And even if you want to go really silly with it, but this is the century, right? Perhaps you take the middle where the silver and the black connect. That can split a la whatever. And then, like, they can turn and each can tractor beam something uniquely. So it can, like, tractor beam two things in different axes. You know what I mean? You can make it weird and functional. And even each prong can, like, pop out and turn. And you have 8 tractor beams. Like, it could be a thing.
So when it gets scared, it just puffs up. Or
disconnects, yeah.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
God, there's some film where the character can, like, pop their hands off and become fighting forces. Like, all the fingers. Like, that logic, right? So you could do something where that's really, like, functionally interesting while still being visually blah.
Oh. Area 51, the Jaeger class breathes a sigh of relief. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, guys, let us know in the chat right now. Okay, would you be interested in doing as you said that, a thing where people submit, like, worst and best ship designs, and we vote if it outdoes the one that's currently the leader? See if we can.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
See if we can find the worst, which ships we don't know, right? So just go, is it worse than we've already got? And that one gets pulled out of the ranking. Or even, like, we do a top 10 and, like, they push each other down. Could be kind of fun. Like, see if we can find the ugliest Star Trek ship and the sexiest Starship ship. What do you think, guys? Would you watch that? Like, can you submit the worst looking ones?
Yes.
That sounds kind of cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to close out here in 8 minutes. Let's get these done.
Yes.
Classic for real, $2. $3 to make the $2 Rainforest ship $5. Okay, it's bumped up on the other chart. There you go. Schmo Buddy, $2. The TNG Springfield.
Read the poll ship.
Oh, the poll. Stapler ship is a bad design, 80%. 10% and or good and guilty pleasure are tied at 10%.
No trolling, thanks, guys.
All right. So the Springfield class. Yeah, this suffers from a lot of the same issues as the Cheyenne class for me, just scale wise. Wrong with the escape pods and the windows. Still using those same style ish nacelles. Feels very, very thrown together kit bashy. It's exactly what it was, but not a great design. So yeah, I would say that this is absolutely, if you like it, it's a guilty pleasure ship 100%. But yeah, it's nothing special, honestly. Is the Captain Simpson?
Captain Maggie, her orders are all in. Whatever the
yes.
How do you express that? I don't know. Whatever that is. Yeah, I like the ship. I have very few negative things to say about it. It's not the best, not the worst. It beats various other ships. Like, it's better than anything in TOS Remastered. You know what I mean? Like, it's more detailed, more interesting. It's pretty good for being a clunky looking TNG ship, as is the theme. I think you could very well do without the secondary pod. You know, it'd be more sleek and interesting. But this pod can add some oomph. Pod could be on the top, right? Nothing against it. It's a pretty medium good ship, not guilty pleasure. I think no one knows about it enough to dislike it.
Yeah,
it's my
feel awkward and like just not quite right.
Oh, sorry. Oh, there you go.
I said the pod just kind of makes
Yeah.
it feel. It feels tacked on. Like if you take the pod off from the side, it looks like a new version of the NX-01.
Yeah. Which didn't know about, of
But,
course. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. Let's see what you guys are saying about this one. Good wins, good design, 58%. Wow. Guilty pleasure, 33%. That's a high guilty pleasure ratio. And bad design, 8%.
There you go. Wow. Good. Yeah. Very nice.
All
Very
right.
nice.
ISFJ 1009, $2. The Tamarian ship. Dan says, I love McGee Simpson. Well, there you go.
Nice.
And 77 likes, guys. Only 3 more likes to get to that 80 I was asking for. So if you haven't hit like yet, please hit the like button.
Getting close.
And yeah, we got about 5 more minutes left. So
okay, that's a shitty stow render.
wow,
Here I thought that was a good one. Talking, I'll get a better one.
that's okay. Yeah, Tamarian ship. It's an interesting enough design. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know if I'd consider it a guilty pleasure. It's one of the better ships of the week.
And the second week, and the third week, and the fifth week.
Yeah. I guess if you put it in those terms, yeah, it's guilty pleasure because it's every other ship, every other race, species. But I like the what's going on with it. It's got a unique look. I say that, well, it's also being every other ship, so it's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I'd consider it a guilty pleasure ship, though, because it's kind of a cool design.
Like, I think it's almost as boring as the Krenim ship, but with the advantage of being a physical miniature, so they could add greeblies. If you built this in 3D at Voyager, it would look about as boring as the Krenim, which they're vice versa. If you did the same result reversed, it would look more interesting, because it is a generic sci-fi ship, but has the charm of being a good miniature.
Yeah, but I like the shapes here. There's much more going on than with the Krenim ship.
Because they could, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, you swap the base, like, just fundamental shapes, BSG style front, some pylons, some nacelles, some fins. That's it, right? But it's all the little stuff that kind of elevates it, as Greg Jean did, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the one with the top fins looks a lot nicer. I think that has, like, proper, like, ooh, this is for me just so medium. Like, I prefer the Packlet ship. That's a guilty pleasure for me because it's a stupid bloody triangle. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's dumb. There's just a giant canister of gas on the side. I like it. It's dumb. It's cool. I like it. Yeah. But it's so boring that people, can dislike it because it's so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
See what you guys are saying. Good design, 60 or 76%. Wow.
Wow. There you go.
And bad and guilty pleasure are tied with 12% each.
There we go. I mean, it's been in all of our brains for like 45 years, right? I mean, it's not, it's like the most basic, wonderful TNG simple ship.
All right, well, let's go with this. This will be the last one today, I think, guys. Hulak, $5. The Enterprise Suliban salvage ship from future tense.
Yes. Otherwise known as the Suliban cargo ship.
Ah. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like this, I think it's a guilty pleasure. Because it's kind of an ugly ship, but it's also kind of cool. It's got some interesting shapes going on. I'll give it that. Yeah, there's more going on than just kind of a ship of the week vibe for it, I think. So I think you're fully justified in liking it. It's not one of my favorites, but I don't know if I'd be embarrassed to say I like it because it's kind of a cool design. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. For me, I don't consider it a guilty pleasure ship. So.
Did you even remember it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, for me, this one's actually quite charming because it's just the same hexagonal thing we never see again the ship, and they just attached it to 4 modules in the middle, and it creates a really unique ship.
Yeah, and Olam Drab makes a good point. I like it better than most Suliban things. Yeah, Suliban designs aren't fantastic. This at least has something kind of unique going on with it.
And in fact, this speaks to if we'd seen in the show less of the single cell ship and more of shapes of other cell ships connected or other shapes. Like, this is a really fun shape made up of ships, which in the show you can have it actually, deconnect and be more attacking, or it exists as they're all cargo, like the kit battery or cargo. So yeah, it's actually pretty fun and really simple to build in 3D. You just build one thing and then you got over half the ship built. It felt pretty tactical in the episode. This thing went toe to toe with other stuff. And I like that it's super unsung here. If they built a whole new Suliban design, and you never get to see it again because it's, yeah, I like it pretty well. And it kind of gives us like 2001 vibes, slightly like having the 2010 I guess the big pods, the big thin ship with the pods like that in a sense vibes,
And you guys, about the Suliban cargo ship, 42% considered a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Good and bad design are both tied at 29%, which makes it the very definition of a guilty pleasure ship, because half the people like it, half people don't like it. So,
because I think I'll go guilty pleasure as well. I don't think most people think about it or like it. I don't know if anyone hates it, but it's, tickles me in a way that I quite like. So guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
End on a guilty pleasure.
I don't have any special thoughts on it. It's a cool enough design, but
would you dip just into guilty pleasure? You think it's like, it's got a bit of guilt. Do you have guilt in enjoying it just enough?
Maybe.
There we go.
All right, classic for real, $2. Not bump up the rainforest ship. Guilty pleasure.
Yes.
You the rainforest ship. And Ozzy, member for 62 months at the rank of Admiral. Thank you so much, Ozzy.
Yes.
Time for Canada hot dogs with chocolate chip cookies and Canada beer. Perfect.
Goodness.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this. This was a fun discussion, and there's your goddamn rainforest ship, classic for real.
Everyone hates it. No, I'm joking.
It's bumped up so far, it's up here now.
Yes, into a whole different format.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for joining us. This was a fun discussion. We will be doing more like this because I think this is a really interesting format. Plus, we'll also do non-Star Trek guilty pleasure ships, just for fun. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I think Star Wars would be really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's, 27 TIE varieties in canon by itself and then comics. Like, come on, Sun Crusher, right? That's got to be a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Right? That's got to be... There's definitely got to be a few that,
Yeah.
So it's been... Welcome, Hinook.
Yeah, this has been a great live. So thank you, guys, for everybody that tuned in. We hit 88 likes, which is 8 more than I wanted. It's fantastic. So if you're just hearing this now and you're watching this later, hit like. Let's try to get to 100 by the time,
this rolls around again.
Rolls around, next week this time. Sure. Let's see if we can get to 100 by next Tuesday. Anyway.
And are we doing another visual creation tomorrow, do you think?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what's going on tomorrow. We will be doing a live. So tune in same time, same station, all that jazz. But I don't know what it's going to be about yet. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
And Rainforest Ship has 55% yes. There you go, classic. 55 yes, perfect. 45% no.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much, guys. Until next time.